Hey everybody, Dr. Red here, and I'm back with some more Magic Arena. This time we're getting a little weird, we're getting a little bit janky. This one is definitely not going to be a competitive list. Just like a lot of other people, I figured it would be fun to try to force artifacts in Standard due to the addition of a couple of cards. One of the key ones being Steel Overseer, a 1/1 for 1 that you can tap to put a counter on each other artifact creature you control. We also have the addition of Bag of Holding, just another easy to cast 1-drop artifact. If you were to discard a card, you exile it underneath Bag of Holding. You can tap it and spend 2 to draw and discard, or spend 4 and tap to sacrifice the bag, return everything back to your hand. So it's a way to make some cards like Chart of Course a little bit less harmful when we're not running too many creatures to actually trigger the not downside of discarding a card. On top of that, we are running Mystic Forge. Think of it like Frenzy for artifacts. You're always able to see the top card of your library. You may cast it if it's an artifact card or colorless non-land. You can pay 1 and tap to exile the top card of your library. So if it's an island, you're digging for something else, cool, you can tap it and exile that card. And outside of that, we're only running two other new cards. We are running 3. Masterful Replication as a 1-of, because this one can lead to some funny shenanigans. You either create 2 3/3 colorless golem artifact creatures, or choose a target artifact you control, and each other artifact you have becomes a copy of it. So you can turn all of your Saheeli servos into Karnstructs, and suddenly your board of 1/1s is now a board of 8/8s. You can turn your, same thing, a lot of the targets here are going to be the Saheeli tokens. You can turn them all into Steel Overseers. Same concept, end step, tap all of these boys, everything's countered, you now have a giant board. You can turn them all into, in the case of creature-based board wipes, a Manifold Key or a Bag of Holding, something that's not a creature, any sweeper. Suddenly they're no longer legal targets, which is cool. And then for our removal suite, we are running 3 Disfigures, -2/-2 for 1 swamp, easy trigger on Saheeli to get our servo, running Cast Down, not quite a catch-all, but pretty solid removal for what people are playing. And that's about it. Basically, we are looking to get a few key components up and running. We want our Steel Overseers to live. We want to be able to untap them a bunch with Manifold Keys. Trigger this multiple times. The wider our board, the better. Get some big artifacts. Cool. We want Tezzeret to come out. Big boy. Uses his claw. Gains us some life, etc. Cool dude. He can recur some of our artifacts that were murdered. More likely than not, the Steel Overseers. His ult, we can just exile the top 10 cards. Shove all the artifacts out. Now, since we are using Karn the Great Creator, we do have a sideboard. It's not great. I don't know why I even bothered to consider putting Duresses in here for a best of 3, but if you're doing best of 3 with this garbage, you're running Black May as well. Fountain Renewal, cheap artifact, some life gain, card draw, Grafdigger's Cage, it's Graveyard Hate, Sentinel Totem, Graveyard Hate, Spyglass, Teferi Hate, Guardians of Koilos. Once you have a decent amount of artifacts out, and a Tezzeret, who gives all of our creatures and planeswalker spells affinity for artifacts, you can just loop these and get a full board of the Guardians out. Guard Pharaoh Statue, it's a cool, fun hate card if you ever end up ahead with this, which you probably won't too frequently. Meteor Golem, depends on where you're at in the game, can literally be a 0-cost remove target non-land permanent. Now, with that being said, let's try to get into some interesting games. This might be a little bit choppy. It's not going to be game 1, game 2, game 3. It's just only going to be games that we actually have a real game of Magic in. Because even testing this off camera, I love it. Artifacts aren't in a good spot right now. Unless you are just dicking around and just, enjoying your jank, don't play this in ranked. Don't play this in ranked whatsoever. It's bad, but it's fun, so we're doing that. Yeah, let's jump into a few games, see how this pans out. Okay, so jumping into a game against Tarmy. I never brought up our matchups though. Aggro, we're bad. Mid-range, we can occasionally have a real-life actual game of Magic against. Control depends. If it's just heavily creature-based and removal, as long as we can keep Saheeli up, we generally do okay. This hand I don't hate. We have Saheeli, the mana to play her, some removal, some card draw, so I'm fine keeping this. Karn comes down a little bit too slow here, so see what we can happen upon. Okay, it looks like yeah, Lana War's coming out. Which means I am more than fine. Of course, we're not going to get our Saheeli trigger here, but them shocking in a breeding pool is making me hope they just don't have good access to back-to-back land drops here. Oh, there's another one. I stand correct. I'm very tempted, but I also want to get our Saheeli ticking.
Together,
So chances are we're just going
great
to cast down
things,
their
you and I.
next threat, potentially shocking the Watery Grave to get our charter course going. Opponent also is a tryhard, spending their money. Risen Reef is something I do not want to see, because that is just straight gas. Awesome. So let's see what we can do. Player Swamp. We're going to hit our charter course first. Karn in a Blast Zone. I guess we can get rid of this Watery Grave for now, because Karn should let us hit all of our subsequent land drops. Get another Saheeli Dork. End turn. Now let's see, they have access to 4 mana if they need it. So far it's looking like there's Simic. Now what does that lead me to believe they're doing here? Could it just be some Simic ramp and they're going to be whipping out a Nissa next turn? They just started adding Risen Reef. Tamiya, so they're going for some recursion. Are they going to try to get their Risen Reef back? What's in here? Yeah, just Risen and Llanowar. So yeah, they are fetching that back. So that is a 3-drop. We have artifacts on the board. I don't know if they're really running removal heavy. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have enough for both, sadly, but we can get a Karn struck out of Karn. Just widen our board a bit. Potentially we can do that next turn.
I have faced worse than
No, I'm fine with this now, because at least this is actually a threat as it stands. There is definitely a line of thought to getting Steel Overseer down sooner than later. Looks like they are missing some land drops, which is good for me. This deck relies very heavily on opponent not having too much for interaction early. What are they searching for?
To the library.
I need to see more of their game plan. Leafkin Druid. Okay, they're looking for more elementals. Cool, cool, cool. Now let's see. We're fine ticking Karn up here. Do you want to give me a land or a fancy land? Fair. Yeah, Kitty, I love you too. Get that down, get our artifact a little bit bigger. Currently, I don't think I want them to be able to dig any deeper in, and I don't know if they're going to be willing to trade anything. Trying to figure out what they value more. This Risen Reef, they have decent amount of cards in hand. They have a Llanowar Elf, which I'm not sure. That looks like they were a little bit mana screwed. Yeah, it looks like they are heavily valuing this Risen Reef in Llanowar.
I have learned all I can here.
Which means there's a decent chance they have another one in, and then they're just going to be chaining triggers. They could just need the mana very badly right now. Generally speaking, whatever. Oh, they're spark doubling Risen Reef. Okay, I think I've seen some weird iteration of this where they can do some crazy shenanigans that end up with them drawing their entire library. Pass. We're going to tick up our blast zone. We're only going to be able to get it to, let's see, 2. So let's see what we have available to us. Down here we have a Karn's Bastion. Uptick for land isn't super relevant. Feel like getting another Karn struck out, just widening our board, has a little bit more value. Board is wide. Artifacts are getting pretty imposing here. So we are doing this. We want... Let's be greedy. Instead of getting damage in, we're just going to start double tapping Steel Overseers. Because now our little artifact dorks are becoming quite an intimidating force here. And we do have a 10-10 blocker on the backswing. And I know it's generally draw then discard a card. We can treat that as kind of an expensive... They're going to be drawing a shitload of cards here, by the way. As an expensive draw engine for ourselves here. Because what we can do after we add the counter on Blast Zone is draw and discard whatever's discarded here, we attach to the bag of holding. Then we can sacrifice it to get that card back in hand. On the off chance it's something very, very needed. Paradise Druid. And they're scooping. The issue is they probably haven't drawn into what they needed. Especially with triple Risen Reef out, they weren't able to hit this chain mana drops or chain elementals. So thankfully we actually pulled out a win here on the first game. Now, that probably won't happen again. You probably won't hear from me for a few more games because they ended up playing that very slowly. They weren't able to set tempo out of control. But yeah, let's just jump into another. Okay, so we're jumping into a game against Mkin. Now let's see what this Gideon Avatar buddy has. So let's see, let's think about what we have. We have a Manifold Key with nothing to really do untap shenanigans on. We have Saheeli, we have Cast Down, we have Karn. Let's see what we can pull out of our ass with this one here. I think we are on the play, draw? One of those, obviously. We're on the play. So, Manifold Key without an explicit target, I think I'm just going to hold on to trigger off of Saheeli. Opponent is doing some reanimator thing, as we can see based on the first card they mill being Drakazeth. Stitcher Supplier is kind of something we can ignore. We don't really particularly want to kill it. Never really realized there's a decapitated head here. So let's see what they're going to be able to surveil and discard down here. It'll help them make the land drops they need, find the cards that they actually need to draw. Wow, they kept everything on top. That terrifies me. Whereas for me, we have Saheeli out. This upcoming turn, we will have multiple things we can do with it. We will have our Cast Down if we need to, or Chart of Course, or Manifold Key, or we can just get Karn going. Tomebound Lich. Alright, so that we're probably going to remove. Oh yeah, they're getting Agent... Wow, they're going for all the weird, cool reanimator targets. Alright. So let's see. So obvious thing we do, we just Chart of Course. Let's see what we do not need, do not want, You know what? I'm fine getting rid of a Saheeli. We will get rid of this Tomebound Lich. Now what we would love to see is an actual target for Manifold Key. We can get Karn out. Trying to figure out if it's going to be relevant for us. No. There's the Blood for Bones. Okay. That gets Agent of Treachery out, so they're probably going to be stealing our Saheeli. It's not something I'm excited to see exactly, but let's see. We can shock this in. Get Saheeli out. Play a Steel Overseer the following turn when it's actually more relevant. Actually, we can do this right now. So we can, let's see, do this, do this.
I like to think fast.
Start getting this ticking up. Once we have Manifold Key, we'll have the ability to... Well, I'd be lying to you if I wasn't bummed out by that turn of events there, but... It's not like we're going to be losing our Saheeli quite yet. We'll have our Karn, who will in fact generate a thing for us.
I will defend my allies.
She's an artifact. What do we want? What is relevant in our current situation? They're going to be playing creatures on the board, which we can't really do anything crazy with. Guardians of Koilos can bounce Karn back to our hand, and we'll have the mana to cast it, but that's about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. Yeah, if we're lucky. We'll see how that pans out. It's, we're in a weird spot where I kind of want to disfigure the Agent of Treachery and just trade it with our servo here, but see what opponent decides to do with that. Yeah, and they're able to draw and then discard. I really like the art on Tombbound Lich. Really? Tybalt? Okay. Yeah, Saheeli's definitely the better target for him. And this keeps our servo alive, generating us another one, because it gives it the -2/-2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They shock something in for a reason. I feel like we're in a position where we have to try to resolve God Pharaoh statue. And it would have summoning sickness at this point in time, but the upcoming turns, assuming they actually tap out with Tombbound Lich. Okay, they're going to have multiples out. Not too keen on that. Let's see, do we want them to have the ability to loot again? Or do we want to just start getting rid of these? It's definitely not the most efficient use of our bodies right now, but that's the job done. Karn is bigger. Now what do we hit with him? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're very close to make it being worth it for us to get the meteor golems. Let's see though. They're doing graveyard things. Why didn't I think of this? We're just going to get our Gravedigger's Cage out. Yeah, that... I don't know why I didn't do that sooner, but... yeah, I guess that one card without a artifact-specific removal really shuts them down. Okay, so that one okay. Our silver bullet in the sideboard paying dividends, and yeah, let's try another game. Okay, jumping right into another game up against a Lol Void. And what is our hand looking like? Okay. We have a Bag of Holding, Saheeli, Disfigure. I don't hate how this is panning out for us. Opponent mulligans down, it looks like, at least once. And again, I think I'm going to get a little bit greedy here. I don't think I'd be using Bag of Holding necessarily on turn 2. So what we are going to be doing is just holding our mana. Sure, we can cast Opt or this or this or that, but I'm going to... there's weird animations going on right now, huh? And assuming they don't have the ability to remove Saheeli right now, we're in a very good situation. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing some Feather-esque moves happening pretty soon. Especially in this color combo. They are missing red, but decent chance they're able to pump up a Danto to kill Saheeli. Which would be a shame, but what can you do? Okay, they're just playing another Danto. First one's going to just chip us down a little.
Do not mistake grace for
okay.
weakness.
And awesome, we're making our land drops. So we are going to resolve Bag of Holding, get a servo. Yeah, me too, opponent. If you had no idea this card existed, I can very much understand looking at it and asking why. I mean, not for nothing, if we get Thought Erasured, we can always get those cards back. So let's see, we're just going to be making tokens, which are very good at blocking vanguards. Yeah, I'm fine with another Opt, man. If you just want me to chain spells right now, I'm okay with that. We're potentially playing into a sweeper, but with them running cards this aggressive this early, I honestly don't see that happening. So we're okay if they want to pay 8 life to keep these alive against our little servos. That is fine, man. Another one? Another one. Nice. So what are they actually going to be spending mana on? Oh, Satyr Enchanter. Are we dealing with... I'm intrigued. I like what I'm seeing. Now let's see. If we shock here, we can play Karn, which will trigger Saheeli, of course. Following that, we can also disfigure for another token, which I think is definitely relevant, because this is probably going to be what their engine is.
You will not.
Now let's see, we are at 3, 4, 5 mana, they're at 3. If we draw into another one, I'm going to be very excited, so I think I'm okay with just getting the God Pharaoh statue, as well as just gutting the Satyr Enchanter now, before they can get any actual action out of it. Because if they're screwed, I want them to stay screwed. As in poor taste as that may be. Okay, yeah. I mean, they're definitely good enchantment targets, just because of how hard they are to get rid of. And the lifelink keeps them relevant. Because in the case where smashing face for 8 each time might not feel too great, well, suddenly it doesn't feel too bad. Didn't draw into land, which is a bit of a bummer. Now let's see, what do we want to find here?
My mission.
We can always use a Meteor Golem later. Guardian Koilos is just a pretty big body. Let's see, but that wouldn't be triggering our Saheeli, which is a bummer. But we can just chump this Adanta, we can bounce back our Karn. Do I want to bounce back my Karn here? Maybe. We're not going to be getting much more use out of him for a little bit. There was definitely a thought to do it with a Bag of Holding, just because in that way, shape, or form, we're able just to get more Saheeli value out of it. Tranquil Expanse, okay, so they're playing some of the old lands. I don't know if opponents aware of the ones that enter untapped but heal you from Core 2020, which definitely are a worthwhile addition for them. Now let's see, I'm not too keen on going this way, but the longer Saheeli can do her job, the better.
I will not give up.
We are losing the board state though, which is isn't optimal, that's for sure. Now let's see. We can probably make an assumption that if we uptick with Karn and hit land, they'll probably give it to us.
I battle for the forces. How convenient. An excellent choice.
Okay, so they're giving us Watery or Drowned Catacombs. So we might have to shock ourselves here. A little confusing, but that's fine. Let's just get this one disfigured now. Get us another token. Yeah. -1/-1 counters really suck with the indestructible effects, but at least opponent was able to realize that. Sadly, it looks like Saheeli is likely dead here. Opponent is still in a situation where they've missed a lot of land drops. Ixalan's binding on
I
Karn?
have let my friends
Okay,
down.
that's fine. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's no sense stopping it. Just let them do it. Keep our little dorks up.
Innovation knows no bounds. I will
Let's see, what
return.
do we hit here? We hit a Blast Zone. A decent target for that would be Squire's Devotion on a future turn. But I'm pretty content with just getting this God Pharaoh statue down. And basically, we can treat it as though our opponent's back's like stuck again on 2 mana. The chip damage is cool, but... Okay, now opponent's at 3 mana, and there's the Satyr Enchanter coming out. A relevant thing for us to hit would just be getting our Blast Zone ticked up to 3. That'll get rid of both the Enchanter as well as the Squire's Devotion. Because past that point, Adantho gets a lot less good, especially with us having the ability to generate a shitload of value. Now let's see, if we hit a land drop, we'd be able to play this and something else, but let's see, she's 3, so we can't really warrant that. Getting this back would be 4, and that would be the only target. We can't remove a counter to get rid of the tokens. This at instant speed can get us some big boys. I'm thinking we are at the point where we are going to be able to hold up everything we do at instant speed. Because whether we decide to cast down, blast zone, any of that, thankfully that's all instant speed. Same thing with Bag of Holding. So let's just get 2 counters ticking on blast zone. Kind of slow down the beating we're taking. Draw and discard. What do we not want right now? I think we're fine not having Karn show up for a little bit.
Not every fight can end in victory.
Making land drop still has definite value.
You've never seen anything like this.
So Adanto is marketably less scary. They could definitely consider Saheeli as their prime threat. Opponent does have a lot of life for us to work through. Oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot that would have hit Saheeli too. God, I do not play with that card enough. Well, that's fine. Everything is okay. As usual, my late AM recording
Let's see how you work.
might be screwing with me a little bit, but we actually got to play Manifold Key. That's pretty cool. But yeah, kids, order of operations does matter, so you don't wipe your own board. Now, there's a decent chance they have another enchantment to clap back on Adanto, or it looks like a way to at least get counters on them.
Do not fear, my friend.
Yeah, we're hitting dire circumstances here.
My strength.
We're gonna swing with the board. So let's pass the blockers real quick. They have 4, 5, 6, 7. So we do this. Get that to 3. And we can cast down one of the tokens. Let's see here.
Is destruction your only art?
And yeah, we don't have the mana for anything else. See, I'm fine main phasing a bunch of instants real quick just to see if we can change up what we're doing. Another Bag of Holding is cool, but not quite what I want. Karn's Bastion is cool, but not ideal. So it's not the fun thing I would like to do with Masterful Replication, but at instant speed we'll be able to create 2 3/3 beaters, as well as generate the Saheeli token. That is not what we ever want to see. He might just start swinging at my face. That's probably his best case. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's a real bummer. What keeps me in this real quick? We have to find a thing to get -1/-1 counters on that. Yeah, sadly we're not going to win this game, so... Let's see. That's swinging at my face, huh? Now let's see, what keeps us in it? We need help. We are going to untap this bag of holding. We're going to sacrifice it, get these cards back in hand. Not for nothing, at least. We can get Karn out, but the issue is, what we could potentially have done here is if earlier on in the game we had recurred a Meteor Golem, we would have been able to use it this turn. But, yeah, sadly, that kind of flyer just, there's no answer to it. We can't remove it, can't cast it down. We would need 2 copies of, forgetting the -2/-2 counter thing. We didn't have it, but yeah. Can't win them all, though weirdly enough I'm winning more in a row now than I was earlier, but we haven't gotten the cool fun combo off, and that's what I'm gunning for. But yeah, another game time. Okay, so we're just jumping in against Infamous here. Let's see, what do we have? We have Overseer, we have Disfigure, Bag of Holding, Saheeli. I'm fine keeping this. One thing that I find happens quite a... Hello. With Steel Overseer in particular, is that he dies if you look at him weird. So normally I wouldn't be playing him immediately on curve, but seeing the forest turn 1 makes me a little bit more confident that he's going to survive to do things, which is cool. Like, opponent's not doing shit right now, and I'm very happy about it. I'm assuming they're holding a growth spiral.
If it's
Probably.
a challenge you want, then a challenge you'll get.
If I had to guess. A blink of an eye, okay. Let's see, that does slow us down the slightest bit. Still going to be doing our Steel Overseer things. Now we have access to another Steel Overseer. They might have counter magic up. Yeah, they have a negate. Which is a bummer, but we're at least going to be able to bump this boy up to a thick level. We gotta have the knowledge that if they are playing Simic Yoink or something of the sort, there is a decent enough chance. Yeah, there's a Frilled Mystic. That they will be able to steal our Steel Overseer quite affordably, because the CMC is only 2. So I almost don't hate the idea of just using him as a beater for now, because the bigger he gets, the bigger of a problem he may or may not be for us. And we can actually get our Chart of Course off properly for once, potentially. Now let's see if they let us opt here. Don't remember if we made that land drop, but I'm fine making another one. How about a Chart of Course? Will you let me get greedy and resolve 2 card draw spells here? Oh, you will, thank you. And Chemist's Insight. Haven't seen that card run much lately, which is... I'm okay with it. I'm okay beating some man down with the 3/3. Play our opt. See what we can find. I'm okay with the Blast Zone, because if we don't have anything to do with our mana, we just tick that up. That's where I'm seeing is the worst case with Blast Zone currently. They might just Frilled Mystic if they have it, just to get rid of our Overseer. Or they're going to Blink of an Eye it. That's fine. Do you have a counter spell up? Nope. Alright. And we're still able to uptake Blast Zone if needed. Wilderness Reclamation. So we are going to tick this up. Ideally, we're going to tick that up to 4 and blow up their Reclamation the coming up turn. Inciting, getting that card draw going. At least we know we don't have to worry about a full-on Nexus. So let's see, we need to keep 4 mana up. That is the important number for us anyways. The one good thing about Blast Zone is quite frequently people forget exactly how it works. So we can say this potentially if we are lucky. Well, I mean, that's a little bit annoying, but that's whatever. Resolve your reclamation. Not playing your growth spiral, it's okay. Put X chargers on blah 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 blah. We want to get X equals 2. So what we can do, we're just going to sacrifice it. Remove their wilderness reclamation at the cost of a singular land for us. And they're holding a lot of mana up, so I feel like there is a decent chance they have counter mana up. Let's see if our Overseer will resolve. It does, okay, cool. And a Dream Eater. That's pretty cool. So a decent chance this just gets bounced right back now. Got it. Yeah, against a card whose sole purpose is to ideally not just hit 1/1 counters on itself, because you're really trying to get them on your plethora of tokens. That's, yeah, a little bit annoying to see him bounce, especially after we got him to, like, 3 counters earlier. Main phase Insight is what we like to see. They're bottoming a Quench. I feel like they know we're at the point, mana-wise, where we can cast close to anything we have available. My turn. So what do we currently know about our opponent? They, more likely than not, they don't have Frilled Mystic mana up. Let's try to resolve the Steel Overseer. Cool. How about this Chart a Course? Cool. Can get rid of this watery grave for now. It'll just get slotted into our bag of holding. Can resolve a Karn's Bastion. Do we want to try to get a Karn out and just figure out what we can do to deal with our opponent? I feel like now is one of the few times we might get him to resolve. No, they actually were holding Sabotage that whole time. Okay. Interesting. Growth Spiral, alright. Again, we're going to be getting punched in the face for 4 here, but that doesn't seem like a mission critical major deal to me. I would still love to find... Will you resolve this time? Frilled Mystic, got it. Let's get rid of this Dream Eater, because that is becoming a inconvenience to say the least. Now let me see here. They're shocking something in. Cavalier of Gales, huh? That's an interesting one. I don't want that here. Before you draw... Okay, I can respect that. So how many Mystics have we gone through? We've gone through 1, 2, 3, got it. As far as my cast downs are concerned, though, I'm a little concerned that we have... I'm trying to remember how many this list is running. If I have 3 or 4 in... Sure, we do have another way to remove it, potentially, but their board presence just got a hell of a lot scarier. Yeah, we're not going to be blocking that, that's for sure. Okay. So what does Tezzeret do for me? I play him, I uptick him, I heal for 2. Doesn't do too much. I try to find an artifact that is in here, so a Steel Overseer, which isn't much. I can get this boy ticked up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 counters, which doesn't really remove anything, and everything is delayed a turn, so that's irrelevant. We might be able to buy some time, potentially, by hitting Tezzeret just shocking.
That is the sound of your demand.
If nothing else, it's keeping our life total up slightly. We're still going to have to block and trade our Steel Overseer, but that's all on the assumption they just swing face and they don't try to go for my Tez. Yeah, looks like that's how this is panning out. tap this just because it's fun. Okay, so we're going to be down to 3. Tezzerrat's going to be healing us for 1 if we uptick him. They are doing reclamation things, so probably going to be Chemister inciting. Commence the endgame, okay. So yeah, we're definitely in peak problem territory, that's for sure. Turn order is a little bit weird, my guy. You probably should have reversed that. Now what does Karn do for me here? Give me affinity for artifacts. Do you have another Frilled Mystic, though? No, Sinister Sabotage. That's fine. We're fine. Yeah, I didn't think we had a chance coming off of this turn, but that Sabotage really sealed the D. Let's see, what can we get in here? Let's get a Steel Overseer out for fun.
Ethereum will bend to my will.
And we'll just sacrifice our Blast Zone. We'll blow up our Bag of Holding, and we'll just go. Good game. Okay, so we're 2-2. So it feels like Game 5 is going to be the tiebreaker. Yeah, sadly we just couldn't quite keep a board presence that game, which is a bit of a bummer. But yeah, next game. Okay, so tiebreaker here up against Duck Herder. Let's see here what we have to work with. 2 colors of land, chart a course in hand, cast down bag, Saheeli. I've seen worse. I see a Plains, I see a Legion's Landing. Awesome. I love it. I think we're in the situation where we won't have the opportunity to hold back cast down, because I'd like to avoid Legion's Landing flipping. Oh, tokens list, okay. Do they have a play? They must, right? A flat... Okay. Like I was saying, though, we're going to be holding cast down probably for this turn if they play a threat that's not a 1/1 vampire. I'm sorry, I'm not used to a token list not having anything yet. You have to have a 3-drop, right? You know, a Benally is a pretty bomb-ass 3-drop, and I kind of hate viewing it this way, but I can't have that token. Okay, so we're just going to be playing Saheeli now. They'll get another 2/2 out.
Prepare to marvel
The
at
upcoming
my
turn, we'll
masterpiece.
be able to Bag of Holding, Manifold Key, and Chart a Course, so we'll at least be able to get a bunch of blockers out, which is good. Are they just going to chain them? No, they're going to have a Shalai, which is a bummer. Lets them swing down and beat the hell out of Saheeli quite easy. But at least we'll be getting quite a bit of use out of her, that's for sure. Let's chart a course first, see what we're able to find with this. Land drops. I don't know what Karn does for me in particular right now. Nothing too crazy except maybe draw bait. Everything else, for the most part, at least has some threat to it. Tezzerrat's also a bit far out. Maybe we just, yeah, discard Tez for now. Should have Bag of Holding first, but you know, whatever. We do that. We're gonna do that. And now we have some chumps on the ground. They probably want their Legion's Landing flip sooner than later, so they're probably just going to be sacrificing their vampire token, I would assume. Swing in, get it flipped. For us to get rid of Shalai, we have to essentially draw into 2 disfigures. Our only other removal would be from Karn whipping out a big scary Dunk Lord. Now let me see here. Great Creator I don't think does anything too crazy for us. Scion of Urza at least lets us start getting a big-ish Karn struck out. I think as it stands to begin with, I'm just going to uptick him though.
A curious choice.
Curious what they'll actually give me out of the two. This figure, awesome. That's actually fantastic. Opponent might not realize it, but unless they actually pump up Shalai, we'll be 2-for-1ing ourselves, but we'll be able to actually get this figure off and kill her. Whether or not they actually do that is another story. They could have another thing they do with their mana. I saw them mousing over her. I feel like it's happening, and I really hope it's not. Okay, so they're just going to be punching Karn.
I'm
Your
sorry.
efforts are futile.
So I
must
think
tend to
we
my
might be in
conditions.
the situation, all depending on what we draw, of course, where we are going to want to... No, we just drew our own Saheeli. Cool. I'm going to wait for them to spend their mana on the actual Saheeli ability proper. And we will have double swamp up to disfigure her twice.
You've never seen anything like this.
Assuming that's the route they end up going, of course. They could be going for a giant convoke, make a metric shitload of 1/1s. There we go, there's the March of the Multitudes. Well, at least those multitudes are going to be a little bit more soft. Because that would be a terrifying force for us to deal with if we allowed opponent to actually use their Shalai, spend 6 to yada yada. So board state is definitely still in their favor. We're not really running anything for sweepers, so they might just start swinging in now. They could have a Tristani to give another Lord effect. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna have to start working some miracles if we want to get through them. Past 2 blockers are holding a weird amount back. Let's just start clearing the way of the ones we can actually trade with currently. They could have a combat trick in hand. That's definitely an option for them. Gonna be gaining a whole lot of life. And creating another one with a Danto. Now let's see what we have available to do. A Venerated Loxodon is terrifying. Because they're all real big and real scary. And a land's not really what you want to see at this point in time. Now let's see. Anything in here we would want. Another Karn, another Saheeli. Karn Strux will be of decent size. Karn himself is probably going to be dying, but...
Until you have lived as a statue.
Now, what
my
can we
allies
do
will
with
count
him?
on me.
I think the only card that has impact in this matchup right now is likely the Meteor Golem, because we can do that to essentially 2-for-1. Because our Karnstruck can deal with the Loxodon. These can kill all the ones that... the one that wasn't pumped up. They might send a force... Oh, they're just swinging face? That's fine. I understand. Let's see. I think right now we are engaged solely in damage control. So we get rid of the Loxodon. They definitely get us down pretty low. Sadly, with our other artifacts dying, that's what caused our Karnstruck to die, because he lost those counters. We have no way to remove a counter with Blast Zone, so that doesn't do anything for us. Can use this boy again to at least get something cheap to generate a Saheeli token. So we can Fountain of Renewal. Still get this off here. So we're going to get a Karnstruck coming out.
Awaken.
Less chunky. We are going to be getting their biggest threat out of our way. The 3/3 Benalia. Followed by a Fountain of Renewal. Just to get another 1/1 going. Assuming our old school Karn survives, we're going to be able to use him to at least continue to draw cards. Opponent's going to continue making tokens. That's really bad and probably the game for us, sadly. I say probably. This is definitely ending the game. That was what I'm assuming is an amazing top deck for our opponent here. Like, yeah, this definitely pushes us beyond lethal. 2, 5, 7. Didn't it? Are we both bad at math? I mean, it doesn't matter. No, you would have been cool earlier, man. That's all I'm saying.
Well chosen.
Now what do we find? An opt or a land? I know, kitty, I know. So what we can do, trying to figure out any way we can keep ourselves in this game. But as soon as, wow, how generous of you, thank you. As soon as we had these tokens become 2/2s, 3/3s, etc., the game was kind of over to an extent. Like, we are definitely trying here, but not all that much we can do. Like, let's see, we can get our fountain out, block, sacrifice it, etc. when we uptick Karn.
Evil cannot
We've been able to
withstand
kind of
righteous
cobble
law.
together a board, but even then, our board of suddenly 5 dudes will lose to their 6 plus 1, so 7. Well, we tried. If only we had a way to get Blast Zone to 0 counters on it. Technically, there was probably a way for us before this happened to let's see. Gonna block. Do this. If we draw into a... Not that, we could have done it. Yeah. The only way we would have survived this swing, and that is barely, is if we drew into a disfigure, which I think we don't have any left in there. But even then, coming back from that board state, I don't see it happening. We would have had to have drawn into our big strong man over here. Let me pull him up because I'm bad with names. Into Tezzeret, because we would have had enough artifacts. I believe that the lifelink would have been meaningful, but he never quite showed up when we needed him there. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this. Artifacts are weird. I really wish they were more playable. I'm sad I never got to get the combo off that I managed to pull off like twice in off-camera games with the full board and masterful replication on a Steel Overseer or Karnstruck, but it happens. Hopefully the next video I'll be putting out, not sure what that will be exactly, will be something that maybe not top tier S-ranked meta deck, but something that works. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you like it. If you didn't, I understand. Artifact jank is weird and cool, but it seems like it's in a bad place right now. It hasn't gotten quite enough good toys. But yeah, Dr. Ed. Catch y'all next time. Bye for now, everybody.